On Robin Hood Radio, it is time for Sporting a Cause, where we start off the 9 o'clock hour here on a Sunday morning on Robin Hood Radio with Willie Hallihan. His website is sportingacause.com, and that brings you all the latest information on events that are coming up that are all sports-related and also fundraisers for local organizations. Willie, good morning, and hope your weekend's going fine.
Good morning, Marshall. Yes, it is. A little dreary this morning, but that's okay. There's always something inside to do. Before I start, I just want to say from seeing on Facebook, congratulations on your knee procedure. It sounds like it's going really well, and I'm sure there are going to be many people who have knee issues that are interested in this, to me, innovative procedure that I'd never heard about. And yeah, keep up the good work, and like I say, people are going to be interested in it.
All right, thanks, Willie.
In the sports-related fundraising world, an ongoing event is the Connecticut Tour de Farm that runs through the end of September. I talked about a little bit a couple weeks ago. This is an effort by the Connecticut Resource Conservation and Development Area to expose people to agriculture in Connecticut. There are 8 specific bicycling tours throughout Connecticut, including Litchfield Hills. Each tour has between 5 and 10 farms on it that have agricultural products to sell, and basically it's a self-guided bicycle tour for people. It's not a race. It's not guided by a leader or anything. You just do it on your own. And to register, you can find the link at sportingacause.com. Also ongoing, I've talked about this one at length, so I'll just mention it, the Jug End Loop Ultra in Egremont. It's a semi-virtual event where you have to run at the location, but it can be whenever you want, and that continues through the end of July. This morning, it's already over, so you couldn't take part in it, but the JYD 24th Annual Hilltopper Half ran at the Millbrook School. It's organized by the Eastern Dutchess Roadrunners Club, and it raises money for the Lustgarten Foundation, which funds research for pancreatic cancer. And I just wanted to take a minute to talk about this. This event used to be known for years as the Junkyard Dog Hilltopper Half. This is the 24th year, so for 23 years it was known as the Junkyard Dog race. And they changed their name to JYD 24th Annual Hilltopper Half, and there may have been a very good reason to do that. I don't know. I can't imagine that there are legal issues or anything, but for the same reason that I caution events to never let their event lapse for a year, changing the name is not a good idea if you can help it. I mean, it's like marketing 101. You've spent years and years creating a brand, in effect, for your event, and to change the name, maybe they decide, well, it's time to shake things up a little bit or whatever. Don't do it. No, you got an event. People know to look for it. You don't want your loyal customers, as it were, to be confused. Keep the name the same. And another thing you don't want to do is don't ever change the date. If your event, well, it doesn't matter what it is, it's a race or a golf tournament or whatever, it's always been on the 3rd Saturday of September. Don't ever change it, even by a week, in either direction, because people remember it. They expect it to be that date. And by changing it, especially, say, September, where there's so many events going on, you can change it to a date where all of a sudden you've got competing events. So the more things stay the same, the better it is in the marketing world. Also this morning, and this is something anybody could do, they have time to do it, the 10th Annual Dick Brigendi Memorial Horseshoe Tournament will be held over at the Couch Pipe of VFW Post in North Canaan. There's only a $10 entry fee. You show up at noon to sign in, draw a partner, and the tournament begins at 1 p.m. Any of the proceeds there will go to the Post's projects. Also today, and pretty much right next door to the Horseshoe Tournament, is the Matt Holderman Memorial Zombie Shoot at the Northwest Connecticut Rod and Gun Club. That starts in about an hour, and it's for both pistols and shotguns. Excuse me. Another event going on today today's a busy day for sports-related fundraisers. The Foothills BMX Race for Life at this great facility in Torrington. I've talked about this at length last year. The racing starts at noon with a couple hours of practice beforehand. This race raises money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. These kids race every Sunday, by the way. The race starts at noon. The schedule is the same every single week. They start in the end of May and they run through October. And there can be up to 150 kids entered in these races at various age groups. And about 5 times a year, they raise money for a specific cause. Today is one of those. But every other Sunday, they're racing. It's always like a $10 fee, very small fee. And because Foothills BMX is itself a nonprofit, the money they raise on a weekly basis goes to upgrading their facilities. It's a great place. Tomorrow, the 26th, is the Salisbury Youth Hockey Annual Golf Tournament. It's going to be held at the Torrington Country Club. I was glad to see this because there were rumors that it was going to lapse. The longtime president his son had aged out of the program, and it didn't look like there was anybody to take it over, but they did. For reasons I've said before, you don't want your event to go away even for a year if you can help it. But they're back at the beautiful Torrington Country Club. This is a 4-person scramble. They raise money, of course, for the youth hockey program. And it's particularly important this year that the golf tournament has always been their largest fundraiser, and it's really important that they do well this year because of the Hotchkiss School used to be their home rink, and because of the pandemic, Hotchkiss isn't allowing outside people in, so they've had to go elsewhere, and the rink fees have just, I think, they doubled at least, and maybe even tripled. So they've got a big financial hump to overcome, and hopefully they can go a long way towards that in this tournament. And I would say, if you're an alumnus of the Salisbury Youth Hockey program, and there are a lot of guys my age who went through the program when they were kids, and you're hearing this, maybe send a donation their way, even if it's something you've never done before. This is the year when they can really use the extra money. Next Saturday, that's the 31st, the Lower Rhoda Lake Association Golf Scramble will be held over at the Undermountain Golf Course in Copiague. And the proceeds from that will be used to help maintain the lake's health. Next Sunday, August 1st, Marshall, already, the 17th annual tour of the Litchfield Hills is taking place. Now, this is a massive bicycle ride. It starts at Co Park in Torrington. It features, it's a ride, not a race, and it features 5 different rides ranging from 12 miles up to 100 miles. And they're going to be going all over the place. From Co Park, they're going to be coming up into our neck of the woods. So next Sunday, please be careful. There's this ride going on. The Tour de Farm that I mentioned earlier is kind of ongoing. And in the summer, if it's a nice day, there'll just be people out riding because it's summertime, sightseeing and so forth. So please be careful. Every year I do a rant about the problems between bicycles and cars, and I'll just touch briefly on it because it's germane for this time of year. Bicycles and cars ride in the same direction, at least they should be. They're both subject to the same rules of the road. Bicycles can legitimately ride in the lane. A lot of bicycle drivers will say, "Get off the road, you don't belong on the road." Well, they do. They have the right to the road, especially when there's oftentimes no shoulder for them to ride on. And if you're a car, the biggest problem with bicycles is not the size or anything, it's the fact that they travel at different speeds. A bicyclist on a straightaway probably averages 18 to 20 miles an hour, and a car, of course, is going 40, 50, 60. If you're a driver and you come upon a bicycle, and it's not easy to pass. Either you've got oncoming traffic or you're near a corner and you can't tell what's in the other lane. You have to slow down and wait until it's safe to pass. You just can't kind of shoot the gap between an oncoming car and the bike because bad things are going to happen. when you really think about it, how important is it, this extra 30 seconds that it took you to wait to safely pass? I'll rant more on that later in the summer because there are going to be more bicycle events going on. And that's about it, Marshall. Did you by any chance watch the opening ceremonies for the Olympics?
I did not. I need the crowd there. I'm one of those people that's the crowd interaction with the Olympians is the thing.
I get it. I'm one of those people that have become somewhat jaded over the years by Olympics. There was a time, I guess, when it was a pure sport. You're just taking part was the reason for being there. And of course, over the years, and maybe this year more than ever, politics has stuck its ugly nose into it. There have been scandals, and of course the COVID thing still is a wet blanket on top of everything. But I have to say that watching the opening ceremonies, this is no athletics have taken place yet. It was just the opening ceremonies that it kind of renewed my faith in the notion of athletics. I was watching all the countries march into the Olympic arena, and what struck me were these little countries like Chad and Somalia and Haiti. There's one country I never heard of. It sounded like seashells when you pronounce it, but these little tiny countries, all of whom have horrific things going on back home. They're arriving there with like 1 or 2 or 4 athletes representing the whole country, and they're marching into Olympic Stadium. They're so proud. They're just as proud of their flag and their country as with their 2 or 3 athletes as the United States with their 600 or 700, and that in their hearts they're not going to win. Most of them are there to take part. That's the Olympic ideal, and they have no chance really, and they know it of winning a medal. Not taking part in that daily tally that always takes place of how many gold medals did the Americans win versus the Russians. But they're there to take part, and it reminded me of Eddie the Eagle, who has twice been to Salisbury over the years. Just as a reminder, he was the British ski jumper, incompetent. Let's just put it that way. He was horrible, but he wanted to compete. He kind of captured the heart of a lot of people for his pluck and determination. He just barely made the qualifier to be a ski jumper, and he was terrible. I mean, he was also largely criticized by even the Olympic Committee as a joke. He said, "You're a joke, and you have no business being in here." Excuse me. And he reminded them that the Olympic ideal is about taking part. It's not about winning necessarily or winning a medal or anything. It's about taking part. And that whole notion trickles down, I think, to even the small events that we run around here, where people like you and me, Marshall, we take up our golf clubs to go to the golf course, or run down the road in a foot race, or take to the field for some sort of athletic endeavor. For the purpose of raising money for a local charity. And, in the words of the announcer Friday night, it's about taking part in something bigger than yourselves. So anyway, that was my takeaway from the opening ceremonies.
Well, it's like anything else. People like to go out and golf. People like to go out and bowl. And some people are good, some people aren't. But that doesn't preclude you from going out with a group of people and enjoying what you do, just doing what you do, and that's the whole thing. The thing that jades me about the Olympics is, once again, there's so many professional athletes now that are mixed in with these amateur athletes that takes a little away from the game. But the basic idea of the games, if holds true, and that's what I think people have to hold on in this age we have right now, is that the basic thing is that you get a chance for people to compete on a world and national stage that otherwise don't have that chance at all.
You're here.
Yeah.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
All right, Willie. Well, we'll check with you next Sunday, and hopefully you get out there and hit a few on the links today.
Yeah, we'll dodge the raindrops.
All right, Willie.
Thank you, Marshall. Take care.
Willie Hallihan, Sporting a Cause, of course, sportingacause.com.